will start with some message that I got in my messenger. So I signed into Messenger and found some forwarded stuff from Ernestine. You remember Ernestine, who had a short stint with the new presentation and left to be her own guide. It was the FX2300T form and a guide on how to no longer belong to the WWE. In short, some resignation guidance from Kelsey to Wendy Hoke. So the question she asked was, so is it necessary to officially resign from the new presentation when no membership statistic is there? So everyone who has known the new presentation for some time cannot just walk away without an official resignation. So Ernestine then concluded that the new presentation has a hidden agenda to bind people to it while pretending to have no membership. So I had a hard time explaining this away and managed to tell her it was just for fun. But I think on further reflection that this note was and is not necessary, no matter the circumstances. My opinion, we should ignore people who leave and who may have some inner issues to work out before coming back or finding somewhere else that is comfortable for them. So we are on personal journeys without any unified or similar time frames. So many people may be comfortable in another lifetime to seek real freedom, while others will do so in this lifetime. So just when I succeeded to tell her it was just for fun. So her reaction gave the impression that upon leaving the new presentation, upon knowing the new presentation actually, one has entered into some kind of trap that needs official extrication, even without official membership. So maybe there will be some reaction to this from Duane or Kelsey, I don't know.
Okay. All right, well, everybody likes to create funny ideas, don't they? So, it's kind of like a relationship with someone. Even though we have the thing called marriage, and what does marriage imply right now? It implies getting a marriage license and being official. Oh, are you married? Are you officially married? And this is according to, really the cabal that invented the idea of the official marriage. When two people agree to be with each other, it's like Ava and I as an example, or anybody, that's simply an agreement. You can call that a marriage if you want, but this stuff is rather funny. People come and go. I didn't even know she was here. I didn't know she left. So it's not a matter of official anything. Again, like the sun shining, and I see what the Rebazar and the Real Guides do. They it becomes, like when I see the seagulls on the beach, is there a membership or an officialness or anything there? Or if one of the seagulls wants to fly off on his own for a while, then come back and forth. That's really what it is. I've set up the new presentation because we play this officialness with the world, because this is how the world is. It's a business world. The seagulls on the beach, they don't have a business. I would rather be like that. I'd rather it be like that because, people have the awareness to come together. Ours is about awareness, is what it is. And also, Rebazar said it at one time, life demands a marriage. What he meant by this is that, if you want to be like life is, then step up and be like it. Or do you want just your personal life and continue to, go through the process of staying unaware of what life is? Really, that's really all it is. But because the world is like it is, this is why Paul set it up like he did. Because this is what people look to. They look to some kind of officialness. I've been confronted by this before. There was one fella, it was an Eckus years ago, said, well, Duane, you don't have some kind of laid out doctrine, so you're nothing. You see? So again, all these things that we experience here that are applied to the business world and getting licenses and, all this enactment, Constitution, whatever, this is all slavery to the cabal, the original reptilians, the Illuminati, whatever, that created all this nonsense. And so today, people are many times looked down upon if they're living together and have children, and they're not officially married. And so again, the same with us. I've never created any officialness. What I've created is ideas to get people together, to show them, just like the Vessel Project, to educate them, just like people would get together as farmers and grow food to survive. That's the whole idea. So, when people start to add things, again, these are control ideas. These are controlling others and controlling situations. But again, everybody's going to have their ideas. Hidden agenda, our agenda overall with what's going on is that we don't have an agenda according to the world. It is simply learning to recognize the is, and the individual still decides if they want to stand real and support others or not. It would be just like growing food, growing crops or whatever. If I wanted to survive, I would go and be with people that are growing food. I wouldn't go with people that are out there, carrying guns and going out and robbing and destroying people and their lives. I would make sense of, from what I know now through all these lifetimes, I would just simply make sense of what's taking place now. But again, I listen and see these things, these attitudes people have. It's nothing to do with me and what I'm doing. And the others here, Kelsey and Val, and just everybody that steps up. This is all it is. Yes, Charles. Everybody has their ideas. They come and go. Heck, there's no officialness to any of this, or there's no joining or resigning. It's like when we were kids, when we played, we all got together and we played baseball together. We didn't sign contracts. Or if someone didn't feel like playing baseball anymore and went off with their other friends, there wasn't a resignation involved. So again, it shows how people have become so literalized with this world that they can't figure things out that make sense. They need some kind of literal consideration or officialness to do whatever. And that doesn't exist here, so all of a sudden we're something else. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, and she also asked that the new presentation should come and take away all the things that they put in her house. I don't know what she means by that.
Did somebody hire movers?
I don't know. So,
Is she sure it's not God? Could have been God.
It's a lot of issues there. I don't know.
Well, anyhow, Charles, you kind of look at these things real fast, and it's like, okay, that's it. Let's get on with something real. Again, like the projects, and focus on there and how these things work instead of funny ideas people have. Again, it's like a red flag in this world. People create situations that mean nothing just to distract, whatever. We don't need distraction. So if people want to be funny, we don't even have to mention these things anymore. Let them go be funny. Let them join their religion or whatever. It's fine. Everybody's on their own journey or their own trip or whatever, and it's all fine. We just do what we do.
Yeah, not to have any misgivings or anything, and that the misunderstanding is on her part. It's from her, not from the new presentation. Okay, that is that. Then when a baby is born with a clean slate of mind, and he cannot remember he has been here before, and seems to start all over again. Does this act of forgetting the past, forgetting that we had been here before, not help one to live in the ISSSNISSS of life? Just imagine that everyone has a full recall that they had been here before and can pinpoint where they live, their relationships, and other things. Wouldn't there be confusion? So what do you say about this forgetfulness, about this inability to recall that we had been here before? Is it not kind of bliss? Is it not some kind of bliss in disguise, Duane?
Every time that we create a body, it's like getting a new car. All right, so you got the old car, and then you get into the new car. Well, after a while, you forget the old car, but the old car is still there. And when an individual gets a new body, they're just getting a new body. They are still who they are. Okay, they're the sum total of their attitudes and whatever, and they're simply getting used to the new body. And they're starting over because that's the cycle of things. It's a choice. Again, it's like where you live here. You decide where you're going to live. All of a sudden, one day you want to move and go to a new place. You go to a new place. It's all about choice is what it is. So the forgetfulness, many times it's if we want to remember or not. And many times you see people in their life, they just want to forget their life. They've lived their life. They've went through a lot. There's a lot I want to forget too. We actually want to forget, and it's all okay. It's a choice. Some people want to continually remember. And it's really all a choice. But we as people here, because of how limited it is, we see things a particular way. But as we become more aware, we simply start to see what's going on. So a new body is just that. It's just a new body. And it's like getting a new car. All of a sudden you get in the new car and it's like, oh, you know what? I want to forget my old car. I want the new car. I want to drive this new car. See, it's just choice. And you can still keep the old car if you want. Some people want to keep it. I've known people that, they want to keep their first car. And they have it repainted and pristine and all this stuff. And they just keep it in the garage. They They want to keep their first car, but they've got a new car, and it's just choice. So we've woken up to the fact that yes, we've been here before through lifetimes, and it's just experience. But all of creation, to free ourselves from it, to have a better situation, to survive, because life's about survival, real survival, is to recognize the is and the real universe is. So that forgetfulness is really a choice. And I remember Paul talked, he made some statements, and it takes a while to recognize these things because of how we are and how we've been taught here. We've been taught distortion for the most part with the educational system, even though it looks good, but it's a distortion because it all implies a business world that's a distortion that's destroying the planet. That doesn't make sense. We haven't been taught what life is. We've been taught what it isn't. It's just, we've been dealing with creation, the distortions in creation. So there becomes a big difference. But I remember Paul saying, as he was going through his process, in one of the books, he said, I forgot a lot, and forget I did, simply because to let it go. Just to let it go. Is it necessary? Is it worthwhile? Does it have a benefit? In other words, the past is a reference. I look at my life and yesterday and the day before and all these things, and I've been through things, set things up, but it's a reference. That's how I see it, not a reality. It's my real awareness and the isness. That's my reality. All of this here is creation. This is something I'm in, that I'm dealing with. That's it, and it can be anything. And so it's not good, bad, or indifferent, or sacred, or whatever. It's just creation. It's what it is, because the real precious reality is recognizing the isness, because we're really all invisible. We're not bodies. We're just utilizing these bodies to get through a process to recognize all this. So it's all kind of funny, isn't it? So whether we remember, forget, or not, the best to know is that life is now, and you can recognize what's taking place now. So whether you can remember what you went through or not really doesn't matter, because you're now, and every moment you're deciding now. This is what's so cool about it. So you can free yourself of it, or you can try and remember the past, or you can make up the past. What does it matter? You've done everything. So just make it up, write a story. It's a choice, isn't it? And one more thing, Charles, how people refer to the new presentation. Okay, so when the first lady that said certain things and it's come and gone or whatever, the new presentation is just an idea that's been created. That's all it is. We are really individuals that have decided to get together and simply do something that makes sense in a world that doesn't. That's all. We're just playing the game. The new presentation, when people refer to that, well, the new presentation did this, or Eckankar did this, or whatever. These are ideas. They don't do anything. It's like a piece of paper on your desk. That's all it is. It's a created document with the world controllers. That's really what it is. It's not some grandiose idea that people think it is or whatever. It's just something for people to relate to. We can go stand out in the forest somewhere, all of us, finally get together and find each other, and sit there and wait for others to show up too. And that's going to be a little bit more of a toughie. It's like hide and go seek. So what we've done is we've created these relationships with, the mechanism here, which is like Facebook and Skype and, all these things, computers, and to relate to people. That's all it is. But so that's kind of like people saying, well, Duane, you've created all this stuff on your computer, so I don't like it, so you've got a bad computer. It's your computer, isn't it? You have a bad computer. Does that make sense?
Is keeping up with what is current or with the latest advancements in science, technology, the political, social, environment, financial, and economic advances, especially those that are beneficial. Are keeping up with this in order to survive here? Is it a kind of living with, going with the flow of life? I find that for the most part, you seem to advocate a return to the pristine society that does away with any alteration of things as they were. So I want to know whether you don't see that this is like living in the past, Duane?
Okay, so latest advancements. Yes, so again, making sense of what's taking place. That's all we're really doing. And at the same time, learning to recognize our real awareness and our real purpose here. So it's not about returning to the past, because just like growing food and eating food, yeah, we did that in the past. We've done it all our lifetimes here. We've done it for thousands, millions of years, whatever. And so just because we're still growing food in a natural way, trying to grow it in a natural way, doesn't mean we're returning to the past. But, again, people will create and advocate these things like this lady in the beginning, which are little distortions that people put their attention on. So in other words, Monsanto is going to come up and say, well, that's the old way of growing food. The natural way is the old way of growing food. We have a new way, a new and better way to feed the world, you see? So again, for the most part, when we look at the so-called latest advancements, when we really break them down, they're really the latest destruction to the natural environment for the most part. They look good for a while. Just like we have the John Ellis water machine. Yeah, it's a great thing. But we wouldn't need it if we didn't live in this crazy society that's all poisoned and polluted. If the rivers and everything like that had natural water to them, that would more so comply. And yes, these things are fine, but again, we can keep creating something here on and on and on, and the end result is what if it has nothing to do with your real awareness? No, really, the heart of what is being presented here. And for the most part, I'm just dealing with all this stuff. I'm just a simple guy. I'm like a surfer. I am a surfer. And the thing is that what makes sense, and that is that, just like Rebazar and the boys live, but we're dealing with society because we still have bodies here and so the next step is that while we're here learning and recognizing what the true reality life is, also sharing with what the environment has been created into here. So really, it's not about looking to the past or the future or advancements or whatever. The new presentation, Worldwide Educators, whatever labels we create to associate with others. It's all about recognizing a real awareness, because that's the real survival. Not the mechanics of this world that we utilize. This has nothing to do with survival. These are little band-aids, even growing food and whatever. These are band-aids here. It's not the reality. When you stand 100% real in your real awareness, you don't need any of these things at all, which is so cool. So again, our real purpose is to share what is real. And it's not about the new presentation or the books or whatever. These are references that I've created to the true reality. This is where things become funny, because people start to take the words, and then just like the gal that you referred to in the beginning starts to rearrange the words. Okay, someone can read a paragraph that I've written or anything, and all of a sudden in their minds, they start to rearrange the words from what is there, or add words and create their own interpretation, which they have the right to do. But really, everything that I've specified, talked about, pointed to, whatever I do, Ava and I, the pictures, it's all focused on becoming more aware. And this is a huge process to go through. People are just starting out. They just think, oh, I instantly know it. It's kind of like joining the church. The whole thing is you go to the church, you confess your sins, and then you go, I believe in Jesus and God, and all of a sudden, voila, you're born again. That's it. It's done. That's it. And it has nothing to do about awareness or anything. It's just that you've just stepped up. But the endlessness life is like standing and looking out at the ocean. It's endless. It's an endless awareness. And this is where very few people recognize this, because they go back, because of how they've been trained, they go back to their literal education to try and relate to something that is not literal. And so, this is where very few people figure it out. This is where most people come and go, etc. I would rather be with people that have a real awareness about them than hang around with a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing, and their lives become, when you're young, it's one thing, but when you're older, everything becomes different. It becomes a lot different, and you become fossilized. So, the advancements and all these things. I look at the world, here comes the new cars out, the 2019s, whatever, as an example. These are things that the world has chosen. I'm just dealing with it. I'm only focused on the isness and the adventure of whatever's taking place here. But all these things that people create and the advancements and whatever, most of them just add to the junkyard of the junkyard we're in. But it's a choice.